All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, wherever you're coming from, thanks for joining us on the Comets podcast. Here we have our head basketball coach for the Comets basketball team, and a little bit about him. He grew up in Hanover, Pennsylvania, yes, on the East Coast, where in high school he was a three-sport athlete, played basketball, football, and baseball. And he went to Shippensburg University, where he majored in business administration and minored in statistics, where he was also the student manager for the basketball team, as well as later he was the student interim director of operations. Well, after he graduated, he worked for the Atlanta Falcons as the equipment manager and coach's assistant. And then after that, he went to Arizona State University to get his master's in sports law and business. I'd like to welcome Coach Dustin Hildebrand today. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited to talk about Comets and Comets basketball, where
Yes,
the program's
sir.
headed.
Yes, sir. So first of all, let me just back up because, we have people, parents and students and supporters that may not know too much about you. And so let's just kind of backtrack a little bit, because you played three sports in high school. That's not an easy thing to do, being, a student athlete. And so tell us a little bit about what that was like for you.
Yeah, so I grew up in a super small town that was, football ran. So if you've ever seen the movie Friday Night Lights, that's kind of how my town was. The whole town shut down on Fridays. The whole town was there. So, and basketball and baseball were kind of just, a background sport and, something to keep you occupied during the fall season and summer season. But, I always drew myself closer to basketball for some reason. I always loved the team aspect of it. But, it really, it took a toll. I feel it nowadays, the three sports, but it was always, in the summer it was basketball and football. Fall, basketball kind of dropped off. And then, went straight into basketball season and straight into baseball season. I wasn't the best baseball player. Couldn't hit a curveball. So it was something to keep me in shape. Definitely played basketball in the spring as well. But, I just liked being around the guys. The one thing I would say is that all three sports, it was kind of the same guys playing at the varsity and JV level. So we kind of, built this rapport throughout all three sports that I felt that really benefited us as we went through high school and became juniors and seniors and, took over the varsity teams respectively. So it was definitely interesting. I loved it. I loved playing all three sports. It gave you a different feel. And, it's the same as us building rapport. We were playing against the same schools as well. And those kids mostly played all three sports as well, if not two or if not all three as well. So I definitely think it helped me grow and, expanded my knowledge of all sports and the teamwork aspect that, I'm trying to bring to this program now.
Wow. That's amazing that you had a group of student athletes that would go from one sport to the next. That's kind of rare in our program, and I would say for a lot of high schools now, just because nowadays we have specialization that's so big. It's like people are, parents and athletes are like, well, I'm gonna play volleyball or basketball or soccer all year round, or I'm going to run all year round. So they're only doing one sport, whereas you were able to do three sports and there was a group of you.
Yeah, I would say it was probably about four of us in my – so my graduating class was 180 kids, which was super small for our area. So I would say about four of us played all three from freshman year to senior year. And, I think that really helped with our success a lot. And it was easy to plug people in when we came in because we already had that strong knit. And with being a small town, it really bringing one more person in wasn't that hard, especially maybe they played two other sports or something. So
Right. what would you say was the best thing for you about playing three sports versus if you would have played one sport or two?
I would definitely say the teamwork aspect of it, and then just experiencing different coaches' philosophies and ways they approached it. The way our football coach approached it, he played for the he went to the Naval Academy and played there, so his structure was completely different than our basketball coach, who was completely different than our baseball coach. So just getting all of those different types of philosophies and coaching ways, I think really benefited to where I'm at now. And you kind of see what works and what doesn't work. And yeah, I would say that teamwork and just learning from different coaches of how to approach a respective sport and how to build a team.
Yeah. Was it ever a challenge for you to be able to move from one coach to another when you had someone super structured and maybe someone that was very different? Like what was that like for you?
I wouldn't say it was difficult because football, obviously came first, and with it being a small town, football started in January when we came back with lifting and everything. So we had that, that military mindset of, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late mindset, and that kind of just stuck with us going to the next sport and then on to the spring season as well. So I don't think some kids had a hard time with it because they were used to that military, structure during football. And then once basketball came, our coach was a little bit more lax than our football coach. So they kind of, you give somebody an inch and they take a mile, type of aspect. So, but for myself, I didn't really see any difference. I kind of liked the adjustment, but yeah.
Very cool. Now, being a three-sport athlete, and you were probably doing one sport and help like train or like lifting for football while you're playing basketball, etc., or whatever it was. How did you keep up with your studies? Because being just one sport athlete and then having to do studies is challenging as it is. So how did you do it?
Yeah, I have to give my parents a lot of credit, and they made sure I was on task a lot. And then my younger brother always drove me in the classroom as well, because he was a straight A student, and he was playing three sports as well. So he'd always get on me whenever he saw me slacking. But just making time for it, it's super important. Athletics got me to one point in my life, and academics has definitely got me to another part. So just prioritizing. We usually didn't have Saturday practices, or we practiced right after school. So get home, eat, shower, and then get straight to work. Little TV, and at that time I didn't have a phone, so it was a lot easier than what our students are going through now. So just staying away from the screen as much as I could, and making sure I held myself accountable, because if you don't have those grades, you can't play. So why push yourself in the training, on field training, if you're not going to be eligible to play in the games, especially if you're not doing your academics.
Yeah. Wow. It's incredible to have that support system. It sounds like your parents were a strong support. Your siblings made sure that you were, walking that tightrope and kind of keep your head in the game and in school.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and teammates as well, because those four or five guys that I was with all the time, we definitely held each other accountable, because we knew, like, if I wasn't there during basketball season, we'd struggle. If another kid who was our quarterback, if he wasn't able to play in football season, we'd have a rough year. So just holding your teammates accountable too, because you're going through it, especially like you said, you're cross training a lot during the season as well. So you're preparing for the next sport, but you're still in the mindset of the same sport. So just making sure that, everybody's being held accountable from, teammates, especially the younger guys coming up too. You see the freshmen, you see it now as a coach, and I saw it as players, as juniors and seniors, just making sure the freshmen know that, hey, yeah, sports are great and all, but like for me, I wanted to get out of the small town. So I was like, I'm not going to leave the small town if I don't have good grades. So, But yeah, teammates, good family structure, and then my younger brother keeping me accountable for it.
Wow, that's awesome to have. Even your teammates that held each other accountable, and I think that's a big thing. Like when teammates, your peers can say, "Hey, look, make sure you get your grades up." You know, it's a different kind of pressure. That's like, oh, okay, like my peers are the one that are like supporting me in that way to make sure that academically you do well. So that's
Yeah.
well. Moving on from high school, you go to Shippensburg, and you are part of the basketball team in a different role, and then you end up being the director of operations. What got you into that? Because I know some of our athletes have, were a part of a team, and then they go to college, and then they end up, they want to still be a part of that, that atmosphere and environment, and so they're a team manager. So how did that happen for you? What was that like?
Yeah, so I mean, I went to Shippensburg with the inspirations of playing, for the team. But once I had a couple workouts with the team, and I knew I wasn't at that level yet. So and I, like I was saying, playing three sports has always been a part of my life. So I always had some type of fascination with the background of it, the coaching side, and how it operates. So. My freshman year there, I kind of just like got on board, and all I was doing was sitting in the stands and filming the game the entire time. And I'd turn in the film and give it to the coach, and I'd be on my way, or I'd come to practice and run the clock. So that was it. But I was sitting there learning the game, and learning how the coaches operate and how the rest of the junior and senior manager was operating. So, and I always liked the aspect of the teamwork. Those guys, especially in college, they're there year round, working with each other, in the classroom, on the court. So I always liked that mindset and that teamwork togetherness. So, kind of, and then once I was given the opportunity to continue to learn, I took it and ran with it, and really enjoyed it.
Nice. And then after college, you work for the Atlanta Falcons. That's crazy.
Yeah.
To be able to work, like you played in high school, you were a part of a college program, and then you're now a part of a professional team. So what was that like for you? What were some of the big learning like moments for you that really helped you to become the coach you are now? And if you have any like funny stories of like some of the athletes or some of the football players, that'd be kind of cool to hear too.
Yeah, so luckily so my uncle was the coach at the time for the Falcons, and he sent me this email saying, hey, we got this position open, but there's about 17 people trying out for it, and we're only taking 4 of you guys. So I always say that it's who is going to get you there, and what is going to keep you there. So, and one thing I pride myself on is my work ethic, and I took that opportunity and I ran with it. I didn't know much about football. I was coming from, I knew as playing in high school, but going to the professional is a whole different game for sure. But I took that work ethic that I developed in high school and then in college, and took that and applied it to whatever I could do to make sure I could stay the whole season. So I did that, and then one thing it's kind of weird, from high school you see that teamwork aspect, being a part of a team. Then college I saw it from a little bit on the outside, and then professional. It's just those guys are so they're perfectionists. They really are. From the starting quarterback all the way down to the last guy on the roster on the practice squad. They're all perfectionists. They're there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, throughout the season, working at their craft, no matter what, no matter what. And they're battlers for sure. It's they're injured, they're still going out to practice. They're still pushing it, because they're trying to make a living. Which I saw a lot. That you see the teamwork side from, you know, the football side, but you also see the business side of it. And it was a great learning experience for myself. Even being an intern and just helping the coaches, you know, some of the coaches, the assistant coaches, you know, they put in a lot of work, that goes unseen and unrecognized. And it's just that mentality they have, because most of them were players. That mentality they have, they just transfer that from, you know, their hard work on the field to off the field. So yeah, I have a lot of great stories. You know, that was the year we went to the Super Bowl. It still hurts to talk about, but because my hand could be a little bit heavy right now. But
Right, right.
but yeah, you know, and that's a thing too. You know, we went. I think we went 14-3 that year before then, and we were dominating the whole year. And then that reality check, it came into play. And even though I wasn't a player or a coach or, you know, any major role, you know, I felt that because I was there every single day from, you know, July to February. So yeah, I would just say the teamwork, the team bonding that I saw, you know, even as professionals, you know, and you only see them on game day. You only see them there, but you know, their fathers, their sons, you know, their teammates, their brothers. So, you know, it was a great experience. You know, a lot of players gave us a hard time, you know, because we were the laundry guys as equipment managers. So we were doing a lot of laundry, but, you know, it was still a good learning experience for sure. And, you know, they respected you and they treated you, you know, as part of the team, which was an amazing experience, you know,
Wow.
amazing experience.
That's pretty cool to have, you know, that experience of being on a professional team and seeing a team just go through the year to the Super Bowl. Like, not just like through the season. You had the postseason experience and then being a part of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
great.
I mean, my boss, you know, he's been in the league for 30 years as a head equipment manager, and that was his first trip to the Super Bowl. So, you know, I'm super blessed. You know, my first year I get to go, you know, super blessed, and, you know, just take everything I learned from that and just try to apply it, you know, all the time.
Wow. So then after the Falcons, you go back into school to get your
Mm-hmm.
master's at Arizona State University, sports law
Yeah.
and business. How many years were you there for?
I was there for a year and a half. So it was a 2-year program, and it was able to get done in about, you know, 16 to 17 months, um, uh, which was, you know, another great experience. You know, I feel like I just kept building and building and building. That program was the right program for me.
Nice.
I enjoyed it, and that was my first trip to Phoenix. When I landed there, it was 115. I was doubting myself a little bit. You know, I called my mom, and she was like, "Nope, you bought the plane ticket, you applied, you got accepted. You're staying. We're not coming." So yeah, that was a great experience as well. You know, learned a lot. You know, more about the business side of you know, sports, and you know, just expanding that network. You know, expanding that network.
Yeah, I mean that's a big courageous move to be like, I haven't been there, but I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna get what I'm going there for, and just and getting it done. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. And then after there, you come to LA, and what got you into coaching at an all girls school? You know, after, you know, being in the boys program obviously all your life when it comes to high school, then in college, and then the professional men's team, and then you come to LA and you go to an all girls school coaching basketball. What was that like, and what brought you to do that?
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I've been around guys basketball the whole my entire life until the last 3 years. You know, coaching in high school, you know, helping out with AAU programs, playing AAU programs, and you know, I moved to LA, and you know, I was kind of missing that, you know, that camaraderie and that teamwork that I always grew up on. So not gonna lie, girls wasn't my first option, but you know, I saw it as another challenge, you know, and my work ethic, and I felt like this was a good role for me, you know, and it's really You know, it's really been challenging. The first year was challenging because I didn't know really how to relate to the girls because I'm a young, young white male coming into, our community now. And it was a little challenging at first, but, I took it head on. I'm proud. I stuck with it. And, I love being part of the comic community now, for sure. But, uh, going back, it was always like a business, sports were always a business, you're always trying to win the championship, coming to the JV program, it really brought back the fun, that I had playing and being around the team. So, super appreciative of the girls that were on my first team, they're going to be juniors they're going to be juniors now, most of them juniors and seniors now. Most of them, like Alyssa and Jackie, they were freshmen there, and they were new to the school, and I was new to the school. So, we all kind of took it together and took it head on. So, super appreciative of them for sure, and appreciative of you bringing me on staff and, giving some guy from small town Pennsylvania a shot to be a part of this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's been a great addition to have you. And, you talk about the challenge and the difference of culture. What have you learned about the culture that you have found to be just really beneficial or helpful for you and your growth?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that fun aspect, sports are, they're a great tool, for success and, building and developing as a person, on and off the court. It teaches you that accountability and, it's just great to see, how much the girls here value academics. You really see that. And I saw that a lot last year, especially from the freshmen and some of the sophomores. Which sometimes they'd come up to me like, "Hey, I have a lot of schoolwork. Do you mind if I miss practice?" And for me, looking back now, I'm like, yes, get the work done. Get your academics done because the basketball team's always going to be here. It's always going to be here. But if you don't have those grades, you can't play in the first place. So, I would just say the value of academics at Sacred has really, I think it's embedded its way into the culture, and it's you see a lot of the upperclassmen holding the underclassmen accountable for sure, and it's really cool to see. And then it's just building, that sisterhood that we talk about a lot. It's coming together, and it's really great to see.
Yeah, talk to me more about the sisterhood that you experienced, that you want to build, that you want to be a part of your team. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Yeah, so one big thing at the Falcons was brotherhood. We're all in this together. We come in together. We win together, we lose together. We fail together, we succeed together. So, I'm trying to bring that, that mentality that we're all in this together. No matter if you're on the JV squad, if you're on the varsity squad, if you're a 4-year starter, this is your first year playing basketball. We're all in this together as a team, and then ultimately as a school, because we are representing, Sacred Heart as a whole. And when we go on the road, we want to show other schools, our tightness and our camaraderie together. Somebody hits the ground, we got all 4 other girls there ready to pick her up. And, when one of the teammates scores, we're there to cheer for them, and when one is struggling, we're there to have their back. So really trying to preach that sisterhood and that togetherness as a team, because I think that's, you may struggle on the court, but as long as you're a team, you're going to succeed in whatever facet you categorize it as.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that idea, that like just being together, that sisterhood, that bond. I mean, sisterhood implies family, and that's a big thing for Sacred Heart, the familia. And so building that in a program, right? That's just incredible, because the sports program can be, as you know, such an amazing experience of bringing people together. And for other times, it can be the worst experience of breaking people apart. So, this intention that you have of bringing people together is something that I think is not only going to impact, them as a person in just sports, but in like their high school experience. And that's special. What are some of the other, you talk about sisterhood. What are some of the other life lessons? Because the way you talk about how you coach and your philosophy is really, and what I'm noticing here is really like we're thinking big picture, right? It's like together, bonding, sisterhood. Like what are these other themes that you are, that you want to be able to bring to the program, to your teams?
Yeah. So this year, we're really preaching, the sisterhood, character on and off the court, and scholarship for sure, on and off the court as well. And they all apply on and off the court. I want us to be, a smart team on the court, academically, and, situational basketball. That's always a positive for a team to know situational stuff. And then, character, we want to represent the school correctly. We don't want, teams seeing us on their schedule and be like, oh, we got to get ready for a dogfight, because they're going to, they're not going to be, the best sportsmanship team or stuff like that. So we want to, develop that character, because that character is going to, it's going to develop now, but it's going to impact them later in life when they leave Sacred. And we want, when they go out to the community, we want them to, represent Sacred, not just, the first year after they graduate, for years after, that character that Sacred Heart produces and that scholarship Sacred Heart produces, along with the sisterhood as a school, as a team, as a school, and as a community.
That is so special. I love it. I love it. So I think, talking about this year, we obviously have had this COVID pandemic that has delayed the season and training, and especially getting in the gym. You have been one of the coaches that have been out there working with the girls, and what has that been like for you? How have you seen the girls, improve or grow during this time where there's only limited things you can do?
Yeah. So, it's been a little difficult. The parking lot is not the coolest place to work out. It's a little hot, on those LA afternoons in the summer. But, one thing me and my assistant, really focused on was breaking it back down to, the fundamentals, working. I feel like this is the perfect time to, hone back in those skills of the fundamentals, back to dribbling, keeping your eyes up, stuff like that. And we've also, worked on just body management, starting to implement that scholarship aspect of off the court, eating healthy, eating right, especially, with everything that's going on, we want to have, healthy bodies, leading into winter. So, it's been challenging for sure, but the girls have taken it head on, and I'm super proud of them. I've seen a lot of growth, especially from the freshmen and sophomores that have been coming out. A lot of growth coming in. My assistant and I are super proud of what they've been doing so far, and the communications they've had as well. Right now we're doing 2 in-person practices and then 1 at-home practice where they got to turn it in, and that's kind of starting to develop that character, because, my assistant, Coach Sky, and I, we're putting in a lot of work to create these plans and stuff, and it's going to reflect their character if they're turning it back in. That's the first step. We're breaking down back to fundamentals, and then, laying that groundwork for the values that we want as a team.
Wow. Well, I can just hear all the creativity and the detail in which using and doing what you have, with what you have, and moving forward. So, moving forward, what can we expect out of the Comets basketball team, or like what what's entail for this season? What can you give us?
Yeah, I mean, we're super excited. Varsity's got a pretty tough schedule. I went out and got some good teams. I want the girls to see what's around us. It's always better to learn. Playing better competition. So we got some good teams on our schedule. We're excited. We're young, but we're definitely a young team, and this year's especially is gonna throw a lot of curveballs at us. And I just want our game to reflect a well-disciplined team on and off the court. We want to show that character, but I mean, winning and losing, it's nice to win. It always feels good to go home after a win, but we want to still walk out of the gym with our heads held high and make sure we're playing up to our standard every game. Hopefully a lot of you guys can come out to see some games and fill that new gym. The new gym's looking nice. It's had about 7 months now of nobody in it, so it's gonna be nice and clean for us. So yeah, definitely come out and see some Comets play, and see us run up some scoreboards here.
Nice. So one last question for you: what advice would you give someone that wants to play, or maybe a 7th and 8th grader that wants to play, in high school for the Comets? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I would just say, I definitely feel your fear if you have hesitations to come out, but we're all on the same level here. It's that sisterhood. We're gonna bring you into the sisterhood, and we're gonna build you up as a player, as a person, as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend. We're all here to get better. We have seniors that need to get better. We have juniors that need to get better. We have sophomores that need to get better. We're all learning this together. We're all going through it together. So, it might be scary the first day, but the second day you're going to be part of the sisterhood, and you're going to really enjoy yourself. So don't be scared. Come out. It's always fun to learn new stuff. And we hope to see you out there for sure.
Nice. Well, Coach Hildebrand, thank you for joining us on the Comets podcast. And we're really excited to see, once we get into sports, and want to come out and cheer you on. So everyone, make sure to come out, get the schedule, and make sure to keep up on Comets sports. So again, thanks, Coach Hildebrand, for being here with us.
Thank you very much for having me. First game is March 23rd in the Comets gym, so come out and see us. Look forward to having everybody there.
Yes, sir. All right, everyone. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us wherever you are, and get ready for next week's Comets podcast guest. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.